It's a pleasure to be here today. I should introduce myself a little. I'm Nick. At ESA, I'm responsible for commercialization programs, what is now the Access program, accelerating commercialization. And inside that is the ESA BIC program. So I'm quite proud of what we're marking today. So we have quite a network of business incubators. It goes all the way across Europe, and we've been building this network up now for 20 years. I was in Berlin 3 weeks ago to sign the 40th contract to bring a new ESA BIC into existence. So you see every blue dot on that map is the location of one of these centers. And I think we should just take a moment to reflect that Athens is 5 years in advance of Berlin here. Over that time, then we've incubated quite a lot of companies. We've had 2,300 startups have come through the program, and that includes companies like Aurora Tech, who 8 years ago were a startup in the BIC in Bavaria. And Open Cosmos, who 8 years ago were a startup in the BIC in Oxford. So the growth can happen pretty quickly, and now these are international businesses who are choosing Greece as the place to build their futures. So we hope then that the ESA BIC in Greece is building the new startups who are going to take over that mantle for the country. So 5 years ago, I pulled this out of my files. We signed this contract, and Jorge and Nikos, who are going to join us on the panel shortly, their names are on this contract. And we said to them, okay, see if you can find 5 startup companies per year in Greece. Use your connections into the Greek support ecosystem and all of the people that you know, and help those companies. Think you can find 5 per year? Well, we'll talk a moment about what it is that they found. So I said 3 weeks ago I was in Berlin. I was speaking to a room a little bit like this, and I was given the job to talk about the lunar economy. How do we build new businesses on the moon? How do we deal with the robotics that we're going to need there? How do we build infrastructure? How do we keep the astronauts and the settlers alive? And then a week later, I was at a climate conference. We had heads of state and ministers coming from all around the world, particularly from the global south, who were concerned about sea level rise. They were concerned about storm damage and coastal protection. This is a picture of Tuvalu. The president of Tuvalu said a lot of our islands are only 2 meters above sea level. If the sea level rises, we're going to lose our populations. Just last week in the UK, I had the pleasure to visit a nuclear fusion reactor. Here we're talking about how you work in a really harsh environment with high radiation, extremes of temperature, vacuum, and deal with the robotics, which is necessary for the inspection and maintenance inside those reactors. And maybe there's some tech transfer opportunities we were thinking for space. And then in 2 weeks from now, I'll be in Italy, with the Italian Coast Guard, talking about maritime safety, talking about automation of shipping. I did get the opportunity with my wife just this weekend to go to a vineyard in England and drink a little wine, and then talk to the wine grower about how you irrigate the crops, how you protect them against diseases, how you deal with the weather forecasting. There are satellites and there is space in all of these areas, and once you start to see it, you see it everywhere, and it's very difficult to hide from it, even at the weekends. Why am I telling you about things that are happening in Germany and Italy and UK? It's because we have startups who come through the BIC in Greece here in the last 5 years who are working in all of these areas, who are now building European expertise, European leadership, which addresses all of these problems. These are the companies that the Coralia have found and have been bringing forwards. And I love the variety of this. And I'm inspired by meeting these companies and seeing what it is that they're doing. So over those 5 years, we asked them for 5 per year. That was not enough. They ended up with 32 startup companies over this time. And they've achieved an excellent service. I have to pay tribute here. Really brought this community together and linked, taken this opportunity with the startups to really make connections across the Greek economic system. There's a mix there between upstream, downstream, between services and technologies. There's a little bit more, and I would say in the Greek system, of technology companies than we see across the wider European network. Is something to take note of. There's an area where you have particular strengths and particular opportunities. Because space is a technology business. It's founded on a lot of high-tech capabilities, which are to be found here out of the universities and out of the industrial system that you have here. I've done my time in the clean rooms myself in the semiconductor industry. I've spent plenty of time with the nitrile gloves handling these wafers. And just look at some of the areas then which the ESA BIC in Greece over the last 5 years has been addressing. There's companies working on device technologies, there's companies working on data capabilities, there's companies working on system integration, there's companies working on security, on telecoms, and then there's companies contributing directly into getting spacecraft in orbit and managing the space missions. So that's quite broad connection into the space ecosystem that you have. Now, through ESA, we're also able to offer to those startups connections into, you see the partners that we have along the bottom here. Part of the service which comes through the ESA BICs is I'll call it what it is, a subsidized connection into the services of those companies. And the idea is these are anchors, these are platforms for the wider industry, which help the startups to get going. So the startups use those, make their first partnerships with those bigger companies, and those companies get the opportunity to get access to that talent at a very early stage. So now we hear the opportunity which is coming. You have the astronaut mission happening in the next 2 years. Some of these startups may have the opportunity to actually fly their technologies, get it to the ISS, and have it tested there by your very own astronaut. So that is something to strive for and to look forward to. There will be a selection, I'm sure. We're very proud. We're very happy with the way this has been going. The ESA BICs as a network overall, all of those centers create enormous value for the economies of the countries in which they're hosted. You see some of the numbers there, and I remind you this is 40 centers with a little over 2,000 startup companies over 20 years have produced all of this value. So startups are great for job creation. If you give money to a startup, the first thing they do is go and hire somebody with it. Right? They're also great for leveraging in private capital, because the private investors see the opportunity to get leverage from public investment, but also to get high growth from new ideas as they develop, if they get in at an early stage. So this investment in these early stage companies is a real stimulus to those parts of the economic system. And of course, new companies means new employment opportunities and new entrepreneur opportunities across the economy. And then we should turn our attention, and I think we'll discuss a little on the panel shortly, what happens next? How do we then build upon that success as we have startup companies who have been nurtured and have been brought up to a level of maturity? How then do we help them with their growth? And it requires additional investment, and it requires a different kind of investment as well. Some of it is financial, and it's about making sure that there is enough support for the growth of the companies. Some of it is about the business themselves and their skills and their capabilities and their network connections and their profitability. And some of it is about their connection to the market and the customers and being able to really get access to demand, which is what ultimately will drive their growth. So we have tools which can be deployed to help with all of those things. to take those companies forward and get them linked in to make the successes of the future. And with that, I just invite you tomorrow morning to come and hear from all of these companies. They'll be pitching in the other hall through the morning session. Please come and listen and be inspired. Thank you very much.